Um, well, you said
Oh,
that uh, you had a subject to speak about, and you sent me that email. And so, well, why don't you lead the way and see where that goes?
probably about our breath and breathing and sharing how important it is just to do our grounding every day. I feel like it is how I begin my day. I get outside and I put my feet on Mother Earth and um, even if it's cold, I do it, and then I make sure to warm my toes for my circulation when I'm done, maybe a half hour of or so later,
All
but
right.
I do get out and I look up or I close my eyes and just go within, and it's feels like that's where we begin. That's a good place to begin each day.
Yeah, well, I think for those who could never say that they saw the sun and the moon every single day, then they haven't been living. And these people in high-rise places, cities, and large towns, where they don't see the sunrise and sunset, they're not fully experiencing the circadian rhythm. And if they
Mhm,
don't spend time with Akhenaten or Ra, blessing their face, then
mhm,
there's something wrong in their lives, because this is the whole thing that the whole world has paid homage to for
mhm,
hundreds of thousands of years, and rightly so. And so, just to sit in front of the sun and absorb it and feel the beauty of it, feel the life emanating from
mhm,
it. And so, all my life, I've been a pagan, and it's absolutely sickening when you hear religious people, primarily, let's say, Christians, condemning pagans as demons and all this. How when their whole Christianity is premised on paganism,
and
the
they
whole
don't know it.
yeah, they don't know it, and the ones that do know it, hide it and deny it. The 12 apostles. It's the 12-star constellations, and the cross that Jesus died on. It's the cross in the
Mhm.
sky that divides the four seasons, and
I like
then
that.
Christmas. Jesus being born on the 25th, dying for 3 days and then rising again.
Oh,
Look, we've got the winter solstice, and it's the 19th and the 20th and the 21st.
mhm,
That's 3 days where the sun sits still in the sky before it starts to rise again. The sun rising. And so Jesus rising after 3 days is all astrology. And then
yes,
Easter,
yes.
it's all about new life, and oh goodness me, and so they condemn paganism. If they're not absolutely, completely, and utterly stupid and ignorant, which is the most detestable thing a human being could be, then they're evil to deny and to beguile, to lie and deceive.
Well, I think they can't see. I wanna take Christmas back on that note. I would like to own Christmas as I do not believe Jesus was born, on in the winter. I believe it is a spring thing, and, yes. Um, but I feel like the solstice and the earth and connecting I have my windows open 24/7. I
Mhm.
do not close my windows, and they're fully open. I might close the, big curtain and keep the heat in a little better,
Yeah.
but I love the fresh air. I mean, anyway, so, um, but reclaiming Christmas as our own and understanding paganism better, I mean, it sounds so, that word is so, oh, that's scary. But I don't know where to begin, but I do know that I've let go, like, I'm gonna shop the day after the sales because, the day when everything goes on sale, maybe I'll shop then, but, I don't wanna be partaking in that consumerism and the baloney, and it doesn't Santa have the word Satan in it? I mean, I don't know. Is that strange?
Santa, yeah, Santa. It's
Santa
an anagram of Satan.
anagram?
Yeah.
That's bizarre, and people can't see it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's so much about it, and all the corruption that you go out and you spend.
Yes.
One of my neighbours, I saw her the other day. She's always tired. She's massively overweight, and doubtless she's on some pills because she doesn't seem right. And she's just coming back to the apartment, and she's going to have a nice cup of coffee. But then she's got to go out again to a Christmas do. And
Mhm.
I picked up on, I've got to go out. I said, so what? You don't want to go out? She says, well, if I could avoid it, I would. But
Mm.
well, she could if she wanted to stand her ground. But she doesn't
Mhm.
feel that she can do that. So she's doing things that she's not wanting to do. She's become more exhausted. She's listening to more bullshit and watching idiots get drunk and talk a load of shit. Well, she should have been, doing something more productive and at the very least resting.
She could have, she could have.
She could have, but you see, how many people do we hear that, oh, Christmas is a stress. I mean, I don't know what to buy. Tony, Timmy, Sarah, Samantha, Bertram, what, all this stuff. And so what do? They rush out and then they just end up buying socks for
Mm.
everybody or something like that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
And then everybody gets
yeah.
presents that nobody wants. And, uh, a big sigh of thank fuck that's over. On Boxing Day when you pack up all the boxes and you go, thank fuck, that's done for another year. Yeah,
Yeah.
I got involved in it for the benefit of my daughter.
Mhm.
But since she turned 16, I didn't do it anymore and not
Mm.
interested and don't get involved. But, the solstice is a big deal for me
Mhm.
because after the solstice, the sun starts to rise by about 4 minutes per day, and
Mhm.
you can feel the heat and you can see the sun getting higher and higher in the sky. And then I look out for the beginnings of Istra, which is all ancient mythology and paganism, and all around the northern hemisphere they've been worshipping you know the end of March, and so
Mhm.
when we get spring coming and the new life, and it all starts again to get vibrant and all these
Mhm.
different sorts of stuff. They're the things we should be celebrating.
We
Uh,
could, we could. I do. I feel like I've done it over time, even though I didn't know how to come in and out of it. I would just be in the wilderness or the big park that is beautiful here, and, I would just know that this is what is important. This is what I'm a part of. This is what I, love. Yeah.
yeah, and so anyway, you've been watching a lot of these videos. Speaking about like alien connection, like a Bashar sort of thing,
I
channeling.
love Bashar. I
Yeah,
love him. I
uh-huh.
do. His humor is funny. I d You don't like him?
I'm not saying I don't like him. I've watched lots of his stuff, but
Yeah.
and I find it very curious how he speaks
Yeah.
with such fluidity, um,
Mm.
straight off the cuff when somebody
Yes.
asks a question, and so
Yes.
something's going on.
Yeah.
Either his unconscious is feeding him like he does me.
Mhm.
If you ask me a question about something, then I can just go into a spiel and I can talk forever. And I think that's what Bashar's doing. I don't think he's communing with any space aliens. I don't think anybody is, to be quite frank. And
Mhm.
all this business. I mean, Bashar made a prophecy, but 2 or 3 years back that October something big's going to happen. This is going to happen. They're going to make the announcement. The whole world's going to know that it's time now, and nothing happened. Of course, nothing ever does happen. And I can't even listen to these people. It's not my thing. I come at life, my experience, how I come at it, and it just isn't that they're
Mhm.
coming to save us. I just don't like that
I
nonsense.
don't Yeah. I don't feel saving is the thing. I feel like it's that allowing to connect to the higher our own higher self, and that's what even Bashar has said. He's not sure who it is, but it's, benevolent, and it feels like his self is who he is. I feel
Yeah.
like that's who we are connecting to, is like we're the angel sent here to save
Well,
ourselves,
I mean, I
and they're
just
just share yeah.
it's just another religion, isn't it, really? Because, there's over
I don't
4,000
know.
religions on the planet, and they all have this thing with the higher thing that they worship. And so all these
Mm.
channelers speaking about the Palladians and,
Mhm.
all these benevolent, and they're so happy because we're all moving into this new glorious land, and it just never
Mm.
manifests. It just gets worse and worse and worse. And so, it's just another thing, like, Jesus. It's just a load of baloney and hope attached to it. That's what people need. They need to feel this connection, and they sit there and they meditate, and oh, he says this and she says that. Oh, thank you. Oh, you're so beautiful. Oh, please.
I don't think it's like that. I mean, not for me. I
Yeah.
think that it just gives me the freedom to have my own knowing my own connection, and that I'm down here. It's a lot to be show up as an unfrustrated and go with the flow human because of all the manipulation. So I've had to uh, work with both worlds. So, and maybe you can't see some people, there's a very earnest part of them that if feeling people that I feel that they're sincere. Some probably BS, some charging it's $8,000 and you can be healed. I'll help you heal.
Right.
But that seems like baloney. So, but I just like the allowing of the 1 O, Cornelius Christopher, it's unexplainable because it's new and different to allow ourselves to heal ourselves. So
Hmm.
that higher self connection is going to be out of scope for a lot of folks. They have a plaque on the wall.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, um, if we this is a good topic to really get into, to see what actually this is, because so many people speak about something similar, and it's been a facet of the human being for as long as anyone can remember, I suppose. There's this higher essence, or the gods and the spirits and all this sort of thing. Well, I mean, uh, I feel that I'm not the be all and the end. This body, I'm not the body, and so
Mm,
what I am is something higher. And so I'm more inclined to pay homage and respect and have a relationship with me, which is higher. I don't need aliens.
okay.
I don't need angels. I don't need gods. I don't need anyone to tell me what to do, because
Hmm.
anything that I need to know, I'm sure I'm going to tell myself.
Hmm.
And so I feel that. I feel the connection of cosmic consciousness, and that I'm not the human, and I don't even believe in the world. It just seems like a mirage to me. But there's something
Yeah,
real, and that's how I feel a
yeah.
priori. I don't need any experience to feel this. It's something powerful. And,
Mhm,
I've had so many experiences of the supernatural that I know without a doubt that there's something there, but it
mhm,
varies for everyone. And so this is the thing about it. It isn't Allah, it isn't Buddha, it isn't Jehovah, it isn't Krishna, it isn't
mhm,
Alien Greys or the Palladians. It's something in consciousness which we have
mhm,
an affinity to, because we are it, but it's like
mhm.
we become detached from it. And so we're all seeking to find that. And I've said for many years, we're all trying to get back in the womb. That's what we're trying to do.
Yes, I think that's it too, and you're right, that's right on time as far as I mean, that's eternal, that's just the big thing, and finding that stillness, allowing ourselves to have stillness is probably the most important thing we can do. It is just going within and feeling our own heartbeat. Some people can't feel their heartbeat. They just are so maybe in their head, I don't know, but it scares them to feel their own heartbeat, may and I wow, I love my heartbeat, I love my heart. So and I've yeah.
I was going to say, yeah, that's the thing. I've listened to many guided meditations and read
Mhm,
books, and they all say, "Oh, focus on your heart beating." When I'm still, my
mhm,
heart beats at 58 beats a minute, and so it's very slow and it's
mm,
very calm. I don't
mm,
feel it at all. I don't
mm.
hear it, I don't feel it, I don't sense it.
Oh,
When
wow.
I go into a deep meditation, there is absolutely nothing.
Ah, nice. Oh,
And so
interesting.
there's no reminder that I'm a human being, uh,
Right, right.
or I have a
Mm,
body, anything like that. And so that's the
mm,
beauty. So this is, we're all so different in so many ways.
yep,
And when people advise us to do this and advise us to do that. I just think they're being so short sighted because they haven't looked at the
mhm,
broad spectrum of how people are affected. Because, just for instance, I'm speaking, recent times a lot about people with no internal monologue, no internal dialogue. They don't see colors when they close their eyes and think about things. Well, I
it's
don't feel my heart, maybe I
mhm,
don't
mhm.
have one. I don't think it's important. And
I
so
think my grandson on occasion, he'll go, "I don't wanna" I'm good, I don't need to feel my heart. He's very spiritual. He's very
yeah, and all
spiritual,
this
and he
business about,
doesn't, yeah.
"Oh, it comes from the heart." Whoever said
But
that? Whoever
for
said
me, it does. Maybe that's why mine is feeling like it does in my body to keep
yeah.
me grounded. If I'm an Aquarius, Libra, Gemini, hello, I can blow around pretty, and then come back and I know I had a good time. So I don't
I can
know.
honestly say that, my heart's never been instrumental in anything I've ever done in my life.
Huh.
Really. I've never
Okay.
felt, "Oh, that's my heart," or, "My heartstrings are being pulled," or no,
Oh.
it's always been a mind thing,
Mm.
or it's maybe been a somatic thing, which
Okay.
is, the stomach, because there's plenty of neurons in the stomach. And so when we're having anxiety, when we're having fear, well, we don't feel it in the heart, we feel it in the stomach. That's
Mhm.
why we want to go and defecate, because what happens is that chemicals start being released, and
Mm.
you
Mhm.
lighten the load. You defecate when you're becoming anxious. It's just something. So therefore, it just stands to
Right.
reason that it's the stomach that is doing all this for whatever reason. It's important. I mean,
Mhm.
all this business about the heart, I've just never ever, got my head around
Mm.
it remotely. And so, yeah, tell me
Mhm.
about how you feel the heart and why you think it's important, because it's a complete mystery to me.
As I taught yoga since 2014, I started before that. It was either drugs or alcohol or yoga. My mom had gotten sick and ill. Anyway, so I just knew that it was really important for me to learn to be more grounded in my own body. I didn't have a very always a great sense of the rooting in that I do now, or I can someone who's very down to earth and, I can feel they're just like, "Oh my gosh," I've hugged a woman one day at the salon after I did her hair and styled her hair, and she just felt so grounded to me, but I've needed to be getting down into my heart and out of my head, and it feels much more expansive for me, and so I did teach that in yoga, to come into our hearts or breathe into the heart space. And
Well,
if they felt it or not, I didn't. That's probably the first time I've ever said anything about it, other than talking to it's probably the second, but
yeah. Well, I mean,
yeah. Mm,
let's look at a few of those concepts of being grounded. Well, what's
yeah.
grounding about the heart?
Grounding for me is when I do go out and sit in the outside and ground in and touch Mother Earth with my bare feet.
Yeah,
It
I
seems
understand that.
very
Grounding
intuitive.
about the heart. I mean, you say
And
you need
well,
to
I've
get into the
mm,
heart to get grounded. Why?
yeah. Why get grounded into my heart?
Yeah, what
because then
how
I'm not just hanging out in my head all the time. I'm coming into a the instead of like, "Woo, here we go," because I thought much faster, I could speak faster probably than a lot of folks and just whoosh right over because of being an Aquarius, Libra, Gemini. It
yeah.
seemed like I had a lot going on in there that was like I talked like the awakened brave as a woman though.
Okay, so
And
I can get it that you wanna get out of your head,
yes.
because, there's too much nonsense going on, but then it just must be an idea because, you've heard it before and so many.
No, it feels like it was real to connect maybe my fingers or just to feel grounded in to my body. Literally, it was necessary to do, and nobody had said anything. Or maybe I heard something thereafter, and I knew I had the answers in this game already. I knew the answers were within me. So I've been divinely guided. Besides, I've just been intuitive to know what to do, but yet showing up here on the earth and being a good human at times and yet frustrated at the possible falling short of others or the lack of love or wherever it
Mm,
came from. It didn't matter because if they just couldn't find love for themselves, it just things weren't happening on really a good level.
yeah.
So
I
yeah.
I keep trying to hone in, to this heart
Mm.
thing that you're speaking about, and
Right, right.
every time I do, there's no substance there because you're all around and you're
Yeah.
not mentioning the heart. So what I'm
Huh.
asking is, what the
Mm,
fuck is this thing about the heart? What do you think that's really
mm,
a thing about the heart that you need to be grounded in the heart and you need to live from the heart? I just think it's an idea that's been bounded around just like so
mhm,
many other
mhm,
ideas. I don't think there's anything to it at all. And so, what I'm asking you is, what
mm,
evidence do you have? I mean, if you tell me, oh, well, if I do this, then my heart does that. And if I do that, my heart does this. And in the meditation, I get vibrations and the feeling of love coming out my heart. If you have something like that, I'll go, well, I don't know what that is. But if you've got
yeah,
it, then it's a belief and a reality for you. I'll accept that.
mhm.
You know,
Yeah, and
but
that is so true. I've definitely feel my heart and how I feel the vibration in my body or, I've had where, during meditation, I couldn't I mean, maybe you have this where you can't feel where your body ends and space begins.
but again, the
And then
heart,
in that moment, there's such a heartbeat for me
right?
that for me, just mine, I can slow it down. I've been in, the hospital getting checked up, and I just wanted to see how my breathing could take my heart rate down. Whoa, well, I took it down so much that the nurse that took my pulse and everything before I was leaving said she couldn't let me go because my heart rate and everything had gone so low. I think I have low, um, what is that called? Our heart rate, blood pressure.
Right.
So I think so I can calm myself or energize myself, but it was just an interesting little self-discovery that wow, my breath is so important to me. And for me, my heart, I feel it and it helps me to ground into my body that I need to pay attention to be more grounded in it for me. And
Well,
that's just been a challenge to be maybe like what signs are you? What sign are you
Libra,
astrology-wise?
Libra, Libra.
Libra, sun, moon, and rising.
No,
Do you know?
no.
See, and I've just had different interests and focus in different ways that my grandmother was very psychic, or she'd call me and say, "Oh, I had a dream you need to drive slow to work today," or, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But I
okay.
think for me, it's getting into my body. It helps me to connect to my body, that heartbeat.
What about the heartbeat? What concentrating on the
The
heartbeat?
feeling of it, just the knowing the intelligence of my heart is so much more intelligent for me. I feel it there and then that's what we're shifting into now, as far as I feel it as well. The feeling of living from my heart for me is pertinent.
Yeah, and so
And it's just different. We're different, like you said, we're so different, yet we're very similar. Mhm.
yeah, I'm trying to weed out if there really is anything. Because when you say the breath is so important to you, well, of course, breath is important to us all. And in meditation and yoga, then we taught initially to breathe deep and slow, because then that slows the whole thing down. It slows your heart down because it
Mhm.
appears that 90% of the world's populace are suffering from, anxiety that they don't even know. Look, here's the thing: anyone that lives in a city is suffering from anxiety because on a constant basis they are threatened. They are
Right.
rush, rush, and the vibration is
Mhm,
making their body anxious. And so,
mhm,
when people in the city go to meditation, oh, bring the heart rate down and slow the breathing down. Okay, look, anyone that lives in the village ain't got that issue. They don't, their
right.
hearts ain't beating out the chest, and they're not,
Mhm.
you know, every day of their life. I just think it's nonsense for people that are hypertense. Because look, when I'm meditating, I'm calm and I'm
Mhm.
not breathing, and oh, I've got to bring the breathing down, and I've got to still this heart. I can't even feel my heart. I've been fit as a fiddle all my life, and doing a lot of exercise. My heart.
Mm,
Boom, 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 boom. It's just chilled, man. And so when I come to read every morning, I sit down and I can't hear anything because I live in an old people's home and I've got double glazing, but I can't feel my body. I can't feel
mm,
anything in it. I can't feel the heart. I can't feel no aches and pains or anything like that.
good.
My mind is empty and I'm concentrating and I'm reading the words of the book. And so,
Mm,
what do I need to do about breath and heart and be heart centered and all this sort of thing? It just sounds like baloney to me. I mean,
mm,
but if you feel and think
mhm.
it is because you've read something and someone's told you, and you listen to these people speaking about the heart and all this, well, you might start to get hypnotized by all that. But you see, I get it. What you're saying is you want to get out of your head, and so you go into the heart. Well, you don't need to go into the heart. Just get out your fucking head.
I do that. I do, and stop conversations, like, if I'm speculating of what someone's gonna say, "Just stop that, please." I don't do that anymore. I mean, or maybe I start it, but I stop right away. So, I realize that, but the for me, being more and taking care of this body, even though I've had a lot of, it feels like wisdom other folks might not have had about every our vast eternal selves. I feel like the heart for me has been important to connect with and to become in my heart, to be in my full body, down to my toes. I remember when the grandkids were little, and then one of the ones, he wouldn't wiggle his toes much. I said, "Little dude, those are your toes." I said, "You energize them and you're in that whole body." And it made me watch and know myself
Yeah.
how ungrounded I could be.
Yeah. So, have you ever done Vipassana meditation?
I think yes.
You think, or yes?
Yes.
And so, what does that entail?
Is that the one where you're breathing the inhale, exhale through the nose? No.
Well, I mean, the Vipassana is where you look and concentrate on varying parts of the body.
Mm.
And so, like, this is what I'm assuming that you got this whole heart thing from, because people say, "Oh, concentrate on the heartbeat," because if people can, goodness me, what sort, how ill must that heart be if you can feel it throbbing away in your body? I don't know.
You don't have to feel it all the time if you want to, you don't have to. I feel like that's the optional thing. It's not like it's all that's happening, but it's like when allowed to, or when thinking of living from my heart more and being this conscious observer coming from the 0 point, maybe in the heart, in my core, and then I can go in and root myself down to be here and be of service to people
Right.
instead of being like, "Wow, I know I can be out here
Yeah.
r really well."
You think the heart gives you this
Mm,
option of being service to people. Now, do you know
mhm.
where the center of your energy is in relation
In
to?
chakras? Our chakras? Just
Well, just there's something that's called. It's a good indication in your body.
mm,
Do you know where the main source of the body's energy is supposed to derive from?
our belly button
No, the
area?
solar plexus.
Solar plexus below, okay.
Now that's just below the sternum. Okay,
Mm.
so your rib cage, you've got that little bump
To me,
there,
that would be the belly button area, like right above the belly
that's about
button.
6 inches above the belly button.
Okay, 6 inches above. Okay,
It,
yes, that would
it,
be yellow, like yellow, I think of the yellow color
right.
yellow.
Look, this is what I'm saying is because
Yes.
I just think so many people are confused because if you asked any spiritual person
Mhm,
or someone that does Reiki or someone that has a power surge or something,
mm,
martial arts, they'll tell you
mhm,
where the focal point of your energy is, and that is just below the sternum. You could say it's about where the liver is.
right there.
It's called the solar plexus because it's the energy of the sun. It's the
Mhm,
life force. And so, I mean, you could focus on that. You could focus on your life force instead of, I think it's just all gooey and nonsense about the heart.
God.
And,
I
Greg
th mhm,
Braden's talking about, when the mind meets the heart and, all these wonderful things. Ask a medical doctor and they'll just tell you it's baloney.
mm,
Ask a philosopher, they'll tell you it's baloney. It's only
okay.
these new ages that are going to be telling you that, that there's something to that. And
Well
I think
mm,
that it's stuck around for so long as a metaphor. And where I think it came from
mm,
is because when we get anxious, then the heart starts to beat faster. And when we're terrified, the heart's about bursting out the chest. And when we feel in love, maybe the heart is fluttering, it's gone into some sort of fibrillation. And so there's a visceral thing going on with that muscle when we are doing certain
mm,
things. And so people have probably gone, oh, well, that's where love is then, because when I was in love one time, my heart was fluttering. Well, it's just your old physiology. It's the blood, it's the muscle, it's the pump that's pumping the blood around. So if you're excited, for instance, if you are feeling amorous, well, your body starts to pump blood in certain realms. It pumps them into the mammaries, it pumps them into the lips, it pumps them into the genitals. So the heart's working. And so, people could say
mhm.
that love's coming from there. Ain't no love coming from there. Blood's coming from there. You know,
It's that's your perspective is and that's and scientifically, that's what's happening, and, um, but there's people and that solar plexus, I guess living from our whole body, and that's where that for me, that's honestly where the 0 point is the solar plexus, and that's our center, and that's where living from that and feeling my heart, I think integrating the heart has been important for me, just all my chakras being aligned and energized. The heart just seems to be the allowing and giving grace to every single person is seems to be kinder than how I've been able to be prior,
yeah,
and knowing that there's a higher that maybe they're not acting as their highest good and their highest self. And so for me to know and view or whatever how I want to view it, maybe view it from my solar plexus and not even really judge it, that seems better, but it's I guess the whole body and lately a lot of my heart, so that's just how it's going for me,
yeah.
you know?
And so,
Mm, that
we can learn about anatomy, we can learn about the physiology, we can learn about the
Right.
chakras, we can learn about the energy lines, acupuncture and all these stuff.
I
And
love
learn
acupuncture.
about all
Yes.
these things,
Yes.
the more we'll have some sort of reasoning about what's going on in the body.
Mhm.
But when people speak about love emanating from the heart, well, I don't know what evidence there's ever been in relation to that. You see, I just think
Mhm.
it's something fuzzy that people have latched onto, and you see, we have this pretty depiction of a red symmetrical shape, which we call.
Right. Right.
Well, why do you think we have that? Why don't you think we should have a picture of the ugly, lopsided, throbbing member? Um, it doesn't look very pretty, to say the least.
Mm.
Do you know where this heart-shaped thing come from?
The two,
Yeah,
to balance out.
yeah,
Maybe it's all a delusion, maybe that's the whole thing. And then our heart, I do send actual pictures when the little emoji of the actual heart,
yeah.
and people can deal with
It
it,
isn't the
I
heart.
guess.
This is it. There isn't the actual heart.
Well,
Hearts
I
don't
feel like
fight.
there's the energy, like you say, the just my body in general, and for me being grounded in tending to my body instead of knowing things in my head that okay. But honestly, being grounded for me has been a very important part, and now it still is, and wanting to be of service things feels things, I think and feel that it seems to be important to share at this time, and that's why I'm thankful to be on here and to understand a different way is phenomenal because I just know what I'm experiencing and how my thoughts guide or how releasing having no thoughts is lovely and being grounded in and rooted in and enjoying nature is
Yeah.
my favorite thing to do, but I can't do that 24/7. I don't want to do that. But I do love and appreciate the animals and all the
Yes, all these
yeah.
sort of things, but
And I
um,
got I
you're appreciating these things with your eyes, and eyes are,
feeling it energized in my body and feeling grounded in. I really do.
body and all this stuff, your body, everything's your
Yeah.
body. 'Cause we're sensory things. But
Um,
okay, so I won't bust your balls about this heart thing anymore because
You did it already. You
I don't
did
want to
it.
steal anything away from you. But look, if you
No.
feel grounded, then you
Mhm.
take your fucking shoes off and you go outside and you put your feet
Amen.
on the ground. And then if
Yeah.
looked into the science about that, well, you're an electrical being and the Earth's an electrical thing. And so it stands to reason that your electricity is going down into the Earth and you're being grounded. This is the whole thing about being earthed. Electricity, needs an outlet if it's going to have
Mhm,
a
mhm.
major burst, so it doesn't fry the system. And so getting your hands in the ground, that's grounding. So your hands in the ground, your feet on the ground, grounding. I get that, and I wouldn't dispute it for a minute. But if anybody wants to tell me that their heart is grounding them, then I have to question that. So
And that's good that you question things like that. I mean, that you like,
absolutely,
I've always known that each person has their own experience with God, and so when someone would come to evaluate my connection, it would be kind of funny because 'cause I'd think, "What? How do you know?"
yeah. So look, okay, let's talk about God then. Um,
Okay, go
be-
there now.
uh, um, I've had experiences whereby I've had something speak to me, and I don't know what spoke to me, but on this particular day,
Mhm.
I knew it was Yahweh. And his whole demeanor, every single thing about it, I knew it was Yahweh. Then
Mhm.
on another occasion, it was Jesus, and absolutely without a shadow of a doubt, all the attributes of everything about Jesus, I knew it was Jesus. Then on another occasion,
Mhm.
it was Satan himself, without a shadow of a doubt,
Mhm.
all of those attributes, and I felt all these things viscerally. And so, if you say to me, do you believe in the devil? I'm going to go, look. as far as this depiction goes, with this creature with horns and a tail and tits and a pussy and a cock, um, no. And I'll tell you why. Because
Mhm.
those creations which came out of the Dark Ages, with writers like Milton and Dante, who started to describe the devil. And so the devil was never ever described in the Bible other than
Mm,
being beautiful and on the right hand side of God when he was in heaven. That's the
mm,
only thing. And so, if he was described as beautiful, then how could he end up with horns and a red face and everything that's terrifying? It's all just being conjured up by the human mind. And so, but what I can say is that the feeling that I had in my body was abject evil. I've never felt anything so evil, and so what would I then coin as the most
mm,
evil? Well, the devil sounds right. Something that's abject evil. So if you
mm,
felt abject evil and you have read about abject evil, then you go, okay, so there's something to that. As far as the manifestation of this thing being a real entity, well, the jury's still out on that.
mm,
Now, with Yahweh, because I've read the Bible and studied it for many, many years, I'm very familiar with his character, Yahweh. And I took 3.5 grams or 4.5 grams of very strong mushrooms. And on this particular day, halfway through the trip, I get this character, Yahweh, show up and start laying into me due to my transgressions against love. And he was just reeling off for,
mm,
for, for two solid hours or 3 solid hours
mm,
every contravention I ever had where I discounted love. Okay, so
mm.
what I'm saying is that I've got all these things to back up all of my experiences, and that's what I'm always looking for people. They can't just be telling me, that they think this and they believe that and their idea of God, and that's just ideas. That's what I'm saying. Everyone's got ideas. I want to know what fucking evidence anyone's got, and people are very, very bereft with evidence. So
Is that why a book is evidence? So that a book is evidence.
a book.
Any book is evidence. All books are evidence.
No, no.
Mm,
If we're going to be looking for some sort of evidence, the only truth that I stand by, and I don't even believe in that as 100% because the body lies to us. But if we can believe in anything, then if we have a stomach ache, then we might serve ourselves if we believe in that and try to think back what may have caused it. And if you just ate some fish or some prawns or something, you might start putting two and two together and thinking, well, if I don't want to feel like this again, maybe I don't eat those. And so then
right.
you could think that that's evidence. I mean, you couldn't prove it really, could you? Because it could be a lot of things.
It's
But
like, yeah.
yeah, and so when the whole world is banged on about demons and devils and negative energies and things like that, what I do know about being a human being is there is negative energy. Of course, there
There
is.
can be. Of course there
Oh, there's
can
no
be, I
can be.
think.
There is
All
negative.
right, there is. All right, yes. But I feel like we can generate either one in our own experience is what we're projecting, and that's maybe why it's been good to become just so softened in my center and my core and my observer self, and then maybe my heart is engaged at that time for me because I feel it out to my fingers and toes, my energy and being thankful to be here, being happy to be grounded into Mother Earth and be here and do what I can. Not that I feel, yeah, so haven't saved the world for sure, but I have learned so much about myself that and allowing people to be themselves, I feel like that's been a big part, and not to, judge, but or evaluate. I mean, that's all things that I'm learning to do better, I feel like, and just I don't have time for judgment on others. Anyway,
Well, y- a couple of conversations ago, you said that you would, read my book.
Yes,
Now,
I will.
I,
I
I
will.
would highly recommend that you do because I cover
Mhm.
many, many subjects, all these subjects we're speaking about, and I discuss them in the greatest of detail. And so,
Mhm.
for anybody that wants to know themselves, then that book's a called that it's called A Journey to the Self. And so, if you want to find the core essence of what and who you are, then you might just find it by reading that book. If you pay attention and if you do some of the things, because if you just read a book about meditation or read a book about psychedelics and read a book about prayer and read a book about, doing wonderful things and read a book about non
Mm.
judgment, well,
Mm.
you ain't changing one iota. So in my book, I have a good section about judgment, and I look at judgment,
Mm.
I dissect judgment, and I ask, what is judgment, and why is it that
Mm.
we don't really want to do it, and what variety of judgment. So when you
Okay.
speak about, you don't want to judge anymore. Um,
Mhm.
why is that? What is it that you discovered about judgment that you don't like?
I'd rather see people as not be too, I want to be easier on myself and others. I think in the overall spectrum of judging or like, I'm not gonna that's they're do let them do I'll do me, you do you. And I feel like that's instead of trying to fix or bring to light things, I would love to do that bring to light stuff and share what's worked and or the aspects of getting someone you've got a book that shows so going out for you and creating these books have been wonderful for us. But I feel this journey is right now where as we transition into a new year and maybe to be our best selves and to shine our light and brightness and to for me it's forgive outside of myself people's um limited beliefs. Maybe they have limiting beliefs and I need to rise above that personally and that's fine and that's like you're showing me like who I am. I'm very accepting if someone wants to believe the gender thing is for me there's two genders and then there's a lot of and there's other things that go on that God does to people that I don't understand. So anyway, my cat was born, a kitten. I saved some kittens, and there was three of them. I have one kitten. One kitten survived. I didn't. That was my first time. Anyway, so there's one kitten, and it's Bella. And Bella, sweet face. I'll have to send you a picture. But anyway, Bella and Bella, the neighbor said, "Oh, it's a girl." So Bella grew up and girl, she's oh my gosh, so sweet and beautiful white face and so
Yeah,
excellent.
fantastic.
Anyway, and then one day I'm just feeling Bella and I was like, "Oh no, her intestines are coming out."
Got balls. Bella's got balls.
Yes. So Bella became a boy, and that I can see, that happened anyway. So, I mean, yeah. So I don't even want to get in on that subject, but
Okay, so curious how we ended up
I
talking
know.
about balls when we're investigating judgment. You see, the thing
But
is,
mm,
the
'cause
thing,
so I judged my cat as a girl, and then I knew it was a boy's, but there was judgment, and I raised it like a little girl kitten, and
mm,
that's funny. I mean, that could be something as well, what
yeah,
we
but
judge things.
is that judgment? I mean, you see, look,
Mm,
when Jesus says, "Judge not, yes, ye be judged."
correct.
That means a certain something. It's not like you've made a mistake between the gender of your cat, because
No, I get it. I understand. I don't know why I went to that. Probably because I mentioned gender and then I went there with the gender thing. But so judging people seems to set me free. Not judging people, setting them free, not and me as well. Because I really don't want to because I want to accept them and see them as love, as the love that I know that they are, that somewhere that we've had. It's eternal. It feels eternal. And
Yeah.
then to set them free, it sets me free. That forgiveness, maybe even on occasion.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So if you don't judge people for being this and being that, and this
Mm.
guy's an asshole, that woman's a bitch. Um, if you
Right.
don't do that, then yes, you set yourself free, and you don't carry the weight of it, and you don't harbor that negative energy. And so
Mhm.
that's the beauty of non-judgment, because you're not carrying the weight of unnecessary nonsense, are you? So
Mm-mm.
there's veracity in that. There's evidence in that, isn't there? Yeah.
Definitely, definitely.
And so these
Mhm.
are the things that I've broached all of my life. I've
Mm.
looked for the evidence in every single thing, all
Mhm.
these words and concepts and all the rest of it. I've broke everything down, and I've looked for the evidence. And if I couldn't find any evidence in the actual thing, then I look for where the the idea derived from. And you go back in the history, and you look in mythology and this, that, and the other. And if it says something about this, that, and the other, then you start to ask why. And, if you go far enough back, then you can't really find any solid sort of evidence. But let's just say, for instance, in relation to
Mhm.
Christianity, when we've got the Bible, and Jesus is trying to still our
Mm.
hearts. He is trying to enable us to free ourselves. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's the whole premise of what Jesus is doing. He isn't trying to get you to follow him. He isn't telling you he's the Son of God, and he died for you, because he didn't die. Whilst he was alive, he was telling people, free your hearts, the metaphor, because the heart is which is beating fast when you're anxious or angry. You know,
Right.
it's a simple term, and so people have brought it on 2,000 years. We should evolve more from that, really. But
Mm.
if you want to free your heart, then one of the things you give up is negative judgment, because it
Mhm.
doesn't give you ruminations.
Mhm.
You don't keep thinking about your neighbor playing the music too loud, and and then you get up in the morning, oh, is my fucking neighbor going to be playing that music too loud? All this. If you're going to be free, you got to let it go, right?
Mm. Right.
Yes. So we can see that that
Mhm.
serves us. And so then when we meditate, meditation helps us clear the mind. And over time,
Mm.
it will give us a portal into a very still mind.
Mhm.
And over time, the amount of ruminating that goes on in some of our minds, because it appears that lots of people don't even have monologues or dialogues, so they don't have any
Mm.
shit going on inside their
Good.
minds. So they don't need to meditate. And so that was something that was never said to me. It was never said to anybody for all these years. It's a very new thing about people that just discovering that people don't have internal monologues or dialogues. When
Mm.
forever we've assumed that they did. How wrong,
Right.
how naive we've all been. Uh,
Right.
and so when people say, "Oh, I can't meditate," or I don't need to meditate, or I wish I could meditate, or whatever. You've first and foremost, you've got to discover what variety of mind you've got. That's really, really important.
Mhm. That is important. I mean, people, that's like, the but labeling is huge for me as far as I'm just over being people being labeled. I would be disturbed by people being labeled. And I would
Yeah,
tell them, don't you ever say that again about yourself.
yeah. Okay, so here's the thing then. I can see that when you have to think, you're not the happiest Mandy. Because when you came on to this conversation, we're joking and we're laughing, and
Mhm.
you're speaking about the heart and this, that, and the other. And over the course of the next 30 minutes, I've taken something away from you. You're no longer full of life. You're kind of pensive. You're frowning, and you're feeling like you're getting back into the head again, because this is what it does for some people. Being in the head head doesn't serve them, and being in your head doesn't serve you. That's why you want to get out of your head into a place that doesn't think. It doesn't think at all, it only feels.
It does. It has immense feelings. I mean, I feel like that's the thing with our heart and living from the center. Like you were saying, the solar plexus and the heart to me is there as well. So that's just where it's at. And being in my head isn't a bad place because I don't have to continuously think of things. I can opt out of that one or change my mind. I can consciously disagree with my own thoughts.
But you did
Like, I
say,
can disagree with you, and yes, maybe I feel like you have such a definitive idea for yourself, and anything beyond you is just if it's not your, experience and in your scope, it's just not feasible.
well, no, that's not the case.
It
And look,
feels like that's how I'm feeling that.
yeah,
That's for me.
yeah, but because, and the way
Mhm,
you're feeling that is because I'm asking you to question it, and
mhm.
you're not giving yourself any solid, reasonable answers, which
You don't think so?
would make a thinking person feel more comfortable. Because look, here's the thing. Okay, women are from Venus and men,
Mars and
and so it's kind of like women are more heartfelt. Okay, that's the thing, and men are more in the head. Now, I'm perfectly comfortable being in my head, and I don't know a goddamn thing about what I'm supposed to feel in the heart because I just. I just think it's a nonsense, empty concept. Um,
okay.
but you know, and because I say that,
Mhm.
I'm not dismissing that other people don't have another opinion. No, I can say yes, we all have opinions,
Mhm.
but I'm interested in what your opinion is premised on, because I
It's
believe
from
my
mhm.
life experience that nobody knows a goddamn thing about why they do anything. They just live in this fantasy bubble that they believe this and they want to believe that, and that's good enough for 99% of the people. That's true. And if you want to think that everybody's got love deep inside them, I go, okay, what do you mean by that? Where is it? What evidence is there that everyone's got this love inside them? Because honest to goodness, in
Mhm.
62 years of my life, I haven't fucking seen that. You know?
Well, I don't know, maybe it's time to open your eyes differently and see with different eyes. See it differently and move we keep stepping, we keep go on, and
Yeah,
then, I don't know, touch your heart on occasion and see if there's anything that comes about
I can't
and
touch.
change okay, well, I don't know. I'm just talking about from here in this now moment forward.
Yeah, no,
I
but
don't
you,
know. I'm not fixing or doing other people. This is just how I've experienced life, and it's got me through that I didn't need to sit and read and have a bunch of input put into me from books. I already know the answer. I knew the answers for me. I didn't and there was a game of going to school and you could remember these things or not, and it seemed very, I don't know, ridiculous on one hand, and it seemed like I was playing a game that was way below my abilities. I felt like it, but and then there was little boxes we're supposed to fit in. To be a good girl, you're seen, not heard. There's, when your own parents are arguing and then you ask, "Are you fighting?" You're just gonna confirm and validate. No, no, we're not fighting. I mean, there was so many things that came about that has shaped who we are. And so you being just definitive about what you've written because you've written it and put it in a book, that is amazing. That's a
well,
thank
I'm
you. And
not.
I'm looking forward to getting that book.
Yeah,
And then also my own
I'm
go.
not entirely definitive. I'm always open to change, but you know, and this is why there's new additions and you know,
Yeah, yes.
there's amendments and things like this because we learn. And you know, what I am presented with every single day of my life is that I've travelled a certain path and I've learned a certain something. and I have certain considerations, and I don't say beliefs because I don't believe anything, but
Okay.
just in relation to everybody's got love in them and everybody's all love and fundamentally love. Well, I just think that's an idea.
It's good.
It's not a fact, and
Mhm.
probably there are no facts. And if somebody wants to think that, then if that makes them feel better, I think that's what it is. I think it's a protectionist thing, because if you walk into a room and you're like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I love this person. Oh, feel the love in the room. Over there, love, 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 love." Oh, you feel comfortable. If you walk in a room thinking
Mhm.
wankers in here, there's a lot of fuckers that are going to want to steal my wallet and shag my
Right.
missus and all these different sorts of things. Well, you're going to be a bit standoffish. You're not going to be that open, and you're probably not going to be too free about giving everyone a hug, because if you do, it ain't going to feel right. So what enables a person to feel right about, if you were to Rupert Spira show, and these sort of things, sometimes they'll say, "Oh, I stand up and give everybody a hug," and goodness me, how
No.
does that work? Could you would you feel everyone that you love? Would you feel that? Oh, yes, I love them, and there's love in them. I mean, what is that?
I'm not sure. I don't give everybody a hug. I don't want everybody's energy. I don't give everybody a hug, and I've always felt, though, that there is, a oneness to us. There is a oneness, there is, unity. Um, I didn't know why I felt like that. I felt like I loved people even though I didn't want to necessarily even engage, but there was something I could sense, and my body could sense it. And that seemed to be where I would get it, is into my that solar plexus. If I got an experience that was devastating my gut, and in there, wow, I didn't want to have that experience again. So I learned that lesson, right?
Right.
So it was yeah, and the energy and being grounded in seems to be very helpful for me.
Okay, so if you
Mhm.
experience something very, very negative, experience in a different person, and you make up your mind you don't want to feel that again, how do you go about not feeling that again?
I really don't. That's like people dating the same type of person, maybe. I would never do that to myself. I don't look for that same experience maybe, and, like, you can bring in the angels or you can bring in the demons. It's whatever we're thinking, and so I would say I want a new experience. I want something different. I know I don't want that, so
Yeah,
maybe it
but
helps
how
me
do
to
you
know what I
protect
do.
yourself, or how do you avoid it? How do you know? You know,
'Cause I know what I do want. I don't want that again, so I'm not even coming near that
I know
experience.
you know what you want, but you know,
Um,
we can't see the end of the line when we meet
right.
lovers. And if we've had a bad experience with one lover, and then we say to ourselves, "God damn, I don't ever want that again." Well, how are we going to ensure that we never have that again? We don't date anymore. But if you
But
do
there we go.
what I'm saying to you is that, well,
Yeah.
how do you know what you don't want again? You go, well, that man that controlled me, manipulated me. Well, probably most men are not going to be controlling and manipulating you from the day one, and not even in the first year or second year. It's a progressive thing, and then all of a sudden you'll discover, oh fuck, I'm back here again. Didn't see that coming.
Hmm. I
So
don't think that that's my experience, what I'm supposed to experience. I mean, I think we're all supposed to have our own, right? Our own experiences, and, I love my cat. Look at that cat.
he's a
And
beauty.
he is a good one anyway, but he's alright. What were we the hmm, what were we talking about?
Yeah, so when you want to live in peace, and you want to
Yes.
feel heart, and
Yes.
so tell me how does your
Mm.
each and every day look like when you are seeking to protect that space within you? If you found a
Mhm.
calm space and you've said to yourself, I'm not going to judge people anymore because it makes me feel like shit. So, okay, when you go down to the shop, you're not judging people. And if the girl on the cashier, she's having a bad day, you don't, you call her a silly cow and, complain to the manager. No, you just accept and you accept and you accept. You let everything go. Okay, well, that's one thing that doesn't upset your
Mhm.
equilibrium. And so, do you set out just to be an avoidance of so many things? Because look,
No,
if you go
no,
to town into the hustle and bustle, then the
right.
chances are you're going to see lots of things that are, a little bit distressing, and you may
Mhm.
feel that lots of people are bringing your city down, and there's all this stuff going on. So how do you walk through the city like Jesus, let's just say? How do you do that?
Like one slow step at a time. I'm here, this is my experience, my space, I guess, and there's nothing just owning that I'm there, and then what I'll having that experience when being in the cities, it's kind of a crapshoot, I think. I mean, if you're talking about being in a city,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's fun. I think it's a fun thing to do. I mean, it's something to be it made me know why I like to live in the country more, even though there's more chemicals here, from the all the, Roundup and everything, which I so against, but anyway, and I take it out of my cats and my dogs and myself, and we have a little program we're doing that's doing wonderful. I know it's saved my dog, my other dog, Jameson. Anyway, um, yeah, just be the city experience is something just be I feel like you get to be on the ready. You get to be ready to rock and roll with people if you live in a city, which I grew up in the Bay Area.
Right. So
So
you're on edge. You're on edge. You're feeling anxious in the city.
yeah, 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 and that was like I feel like that's a lot of what I've carried with me is and then so for me, maybe grounding in and down to earth and getting my feet on the earth on a regular for last 2019, I really started just dialing in the breath, I
Okay.
had
So
to
look, le- le-
Mhm.
le- let's just concentrate on a few things. Otherwise,
Okay,
we just end up talking and nothing means anything. Because we
okay,
just go off on tangents and,
I
round and
do.
round and round, and there's never anything discovered about ourselves. You see,
Okay,
my channel is about self-discovery. It's about a journey to the
right,
self, and I'm trying to instill that in other people. And how
right,
we do it is by questioning and introspecting and stopping and examining. We can't just
okay.
going off and all around the world and everything. And so I'm trying to get at what does your day look like? When you get out of bed, how do you keep this loving heart? And how do you think that everyone you meet is got love in them, and you don't think bad things about them? When you've just said, in contradiction, that when you go in the city, your body's on red alert.
Well, I
Exactly.
think I didn't say red alert, I don't believe I said
You
that, but
said
I said that
you've got to be
you be
ready.
ready. You're on the ready. That's
In flight. That's what I'm saying. The
right. Well, I don't live in a city. I live in a small city, a small town, a rural area. So, and there's a lot of trees and fields around us, and mostly, yeah, a beautiful area.
See, what happens when you feel that you've got to be ready? What are you talking about when you've got to be ready? What you've got to be ready? You clutch onto your handbag. You're watching where your phone is. Uh,
Probably, yeah, I mean, just more dialed in, and then I guess feeling where other people are coming from. That's maybe I got that sensory high alert thing from my childhood that made me be very aware.
Hypervigilance.
Hypervigilant, yes, that's a good
Yes,
one.
yes,
Mhm. Yes, and then to really have to read people, and
yes.
maybe that just puts me in the ready because I know people are ready to do just
Okay, so what
anything.
I'm saying is when you speak about feeling the love and all these wonderful things, well, I'd be a little bit more inclined to believe you if you didn't go in the city, because what you're telling me, when you go in the city, you ain't feeling the love.
Well,
You
I
you are
well,
having
I haven't been to the city for a long while. I
right.
haven't been in a couple years,
Look,
so
the thing is that
yeah.
this whole psychology thing, and this is one of the
Uh-huh.
things I'm going to see psychologists and psychiatrists, and I've been studying it, all my life, is
It's a
because
lot.
great deal about ourselves. And
Yes.
I don't go into the fucking city because I don't want to see that shower of shit, because that's going to make me hate the human being even more than I do now. And so that's how I still my heart. I live on the outskirts of the city, 5-6 miles out from the centre. It's a
Right.
relatively small village, and I only need to walk, 10 minutes in lots of directions, and I'm out in the fields. And so
Mhm. That's
I keep
nice.
grounded. That's how I keep still. And so I'm asking you, how do you do that?
How do I keep still?
How do you keep a still heart? How do you
How
keep
I stay to myself, I enjoy nature, I have my animals, I have, I've been I feel like I have just learned about myself, and I've done the psychology and the counseling and different things, and then just diving deep into reflection and deep into what is I didn't know, oh, this is, gaslighting or narcissist or misogyny. I mean, it could happen in either gender. I mean, anybody can do and be anything, and balances or aspects of all of that. For me, we're all aspects of a
Yes.
variety of
So, look, I'm
yeah.
reading between the lines here, and
Okay.
I'm going to speculate that you had a difficult childhood. The difficult childhood made you hypervigilant, like I am, right?
Mm,
I'm
yes.
hypervigilant.
Yeah.
I notice everything. That's why it's not good for me to go in the city. I notice every single
Yeah.
person, every single doorway. I notice
Right.
everyone creeping around, begging, pretending to be homeless when they've got
Mhm.
clothes on with just a dirty overcoat on. They've not got dirty nails and they've not got hair stuck to the side of the face. I
Yeah.
notice all these things and I see
Yes.
trickery and deception, and I
Mhm.
just don't like it. And so it's not going to be good for my health if I frequent
Mhm.
these places. So I don't do it. Now, what I'm sensing from you is that you've done the same, Mandy. You don't
Mhm.
have a partner. You've got a cat or two, and you live in a pretty rural area. And so
Yeah.
what you've done is you've retreated, and you think you're retreating into the heart, and maybe for you you are, because the head's not too much fun, and so you don't want to be thinking about
The
all.
head is fun, and that's could be a problem. The head is a fun and a good time, but
Okay,
I don't wanna hang out there. I just wanna soften things and quiet the mind.
yeah,
It's
okay. So
been a dichotomy, right?
too much fun. What I'm saying is, then, in another way,
Mm.
living in the head, isn't conducive to you. You'd much rather just like turn the head off and just feel the body, and get out and feel the sun, and with your
Mhm.
animals and all those sort of things. That simple life. Yes, I'm hearing
Yeah.
that. And what you've done is you've retreated back from all the experiences that you've not enjoyed necessarily in life, and that's what I've done.
I get it, but I did enjoy them. I think it was very entertaining for me. Since, when we had the shift in the 2019, I said, before 2020, but that's when it felt like for me, but I got busier, I was out in the world more, I was helping people out so much, and things changed, but I got busier and I was a salon owner prior, and anyway, but things changed, right, with, businesses, and, where did I go with that one now? Um,
You was talking about Molly's balls.
no. No, I know, I thought that though, I thought, "Oh my gosh, the poor little intestines are coming out or something." I didn't she was
Oh,
a girl. We all still call her, and he's beautiful boy, but he's sometimes even the neighbor says her and she.
he's the prettiest boy in town.
He is Bella. Yeah, and we didn't change his name. People said, "You have to change his name." I said, "No, he's beautiful."
Yeah, well, my first squirrel, I thought she was a boy for 1.5 years until she fell pregnant, and
Right.
then she had 6 tits. Uh,
Oh.
but fortunately, Providence was a universal name, and so I didn't have to change the name. But I
Right.
always said to her he was the prettiest boy in town. Uh, and what I'm
That's
you,
funny.
They'll think it's a girl. But in retrospect, you can tell whether a dog's male or female most times, and cats
Right.
do got a look, haven't they, about them? But then you do
Eh,
get, thrown by,
mhm.
the one you're speaking about. When one of them, doesn't look that feminine or doesn't look, that beautiful, then they could actually be the opposite. But
Yeah.
so when I'm kind of like probing and I'm suggesting things and I'm saying, so look, see,
Mhm.
in the latter stage of your life, middle age, whatever you want to call it, you have decided that you'd
Mm.
rather live with a cat than a man, and I would rather live with a squirrel than a woman.
Right.
So similarities there. We've gotten away from the hecticness of the world. We no longer engage in that in business and things like that. We like
Mhm.
the stillness of our body. We like to feel the body still and calm, and we don't want
Mhm.
activity in the head unless we create it.
Mhm.
Now, you mentioned narcissists and gaslighting. Now, anyone that's ever had that, you've been through a living hell.
Mm.
And so to go through that, you
Mm.
can't say that was fun. You could say,
No, but it was a great lesson. I can give it, life has no meaning until the meaning we give it. So it was a huge lesson, and even using those words or having people be misogynistic or, and just not understanding where where in the world are they what is this yes, no, no, yes? I mean, a lot of, people, when you say something and they agree, they first say no, no. Yeah. So it's just people's abilities to show up and how they can, I don't know, just see the possibilities, I guess, and I don't go into the cities either. Even it feels like quite an adventure, and I've had to learn. I didn't even have labels for what I needed to calm down, and just I've gotten myself here over the years, and I knew when I came here, that it was important just to let everything else be because I've been in the world and a part of it, and I feel like I'm, oh gosh, an inward, outward, what is that when you're outgoing and then but you'd rather like to be pardon?
extrovert and introvert.
Extrovert, yeah, I feel like I'm a introverted extrovert, right? Or an extroverted introvert, because I can be quite introverted and very content, so content and happy, but then I'm willing and I learned to go out and I learned to inner wow, and it was so much for me, even though I did counseling over the years, which was good. I did it, I said, for my daughter's sake and, just to know she's fine and everything. But I'm sure I did it. I needed to see myself so
Mm,
much. But as of late, um, I've allowed myself to really dive deeper and use my phone in positive ways to learn about all the different aspects of us humans that I just was so busy doing life that I didn't allow. And it's been nice to know, not that I believe in ADHD, but I believe in or autism. I think there's a spectrum of brain ability, brain health. We want to have a healthy brain and so I've just let myself learn so much and I allow others to be who they are. And it's been nice to move away from the busyness. It's right where I'm supposed to be.
yeah. So when you allow others to be who they are, uh,
Mhm.
you abstain from judging, which means you don't carry the weight of the
Mhm.
labeling that you're constantly doing. And
Yeah.
so it's pretty emancipating. And so you free a certain sector of your mind up, don't you? Because when you're not judging
Wow.
people anymore, all of a sudden there's a big lump
Yeah.
of your mind that's empty. And it's kind
Ah,
of like,
yeah.
wow, shall I leave it empty or shall I fill that up with something else? Isn't
It's
it?
so nice to just be light about it, lighthearted. Maybe that's where it's just a saying, you like, just a saying, but it really feels peaceful and lighthearted, peaceful and just open in this body, I guess. That 0 point, I feel like it, like you say, that solar plexus is where this is all emanating from. And to me, the heart has been important and just all
Mm.
my chakras lined up and energized.
Yeah.
So, and for me, I'm just getting back into my body. I had quit teaching last year, um, relaxation yoga,
Teaching did you do?
restorative yoga,
Oh, right.
just a very gentle movements and breathing. Yeah.
So why did you stop doing that then? Surely that's benefit.
It just the company that I was done working for this. I
Right.
would like to go somewhere else and do it maybe.
Well,
Yeah.
why don't you do it your own? You know how to do it. Why don't you just put some nice music on, do that for
I
yourself?
do, I do. I do in the evenings, it
Yeah,
seems. I would like to get up more and do it in the mornings, but I feel like I could do that for others, it seems. And then
right.
I do it with them, it's so nice.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you feel then about family members and let's say so-called friends? You see how I said friends?
So-called friends. I've learned if I want to have a friend, I get to be a friend, right? For that's kind of basic. And then sometimes it's very difficult with people have the especially since the 2019, the whatever went on there, and the split and the different, the 2 beliefs and people driving around with a diaper on their face and still maybe,
Mm,
um, there's a split. And there's still I don't know, I can't talk for others any longer. I can
well,
do me.
okay, but you
Mm.
have sidestepped the question.
I
Uh,
did. Well, friends and the family are 2 different things. I feel like friends, so-called friends, and family is just, a lesson in itself, right? And, uh, learning about the different, aspects of our own upbringing or people's perception of what happened, it can be so different.
yeah,
Mhm.
so how do you deal with family?
How do I deal with them?
Yeah.
Friends or so-called family? I just don't deal with them. I engage and have a conversation, and I'll be a l I've learned to listen more for sure and come and to that 0 point, that observer, and allowing them to they've got their own experience and their own way that things came through for them that may be different, very different than mine.
Yeah. Now, obviously, your therapist helped you along with this. Yeah.
He my they yes, sure, yes, and I did do some reading, and I
Hmm.
had to, I feel like it, and this is back then I had to, it felt like like dive in, it had to. Now I got to. As of late in the last few years, it was more of I wanted to go there. I wanted to know me better.
Right. And so,
Mhm.
what would you think was the major benefit that you acquired whilst you was doing that? You try to be succinct. Try to nail it in like one sentence.
Mm, mm. I would say as above, so below, and embodying my body, allowing people to be who they are. I don't know, as far as one sentence. It's been a lot. It's been more than I ever anticipated. Just I haven't done it my whole life. I knew that a lot of times my counselors probably needed counseling
Mm,
themselves. I ended up counseling others
mm.
along the way, and so it's a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So, when I was younger, I was very close to my younger sister, 2 years younger, and we were very close through our 20s. Um, and, you know, lesser as we're getting older. Um, um, put it this way, when my daughter was a baby up until I suppose about 10, 12, 15. I always used to take her places, and I used to take my sister's son, my daughter's cousin, and they were like
Right.
brother and sister. They really got on well together. And so I would always see my sister a lot, and we were close and we could have lots of conversations. But since I had my spiritual awakening, and I'd been through all that, and 10 years had passed, and thousands of books, and a great deal of introspection, and all these different sorts
Mm,
of things, man watching. Well, something massively changed between
mm,
myself and her, and
mm,
she absolutely hated it.
mm,
She wanted her brother back, and that brother
mm,
was gone. And I didn't have the time to engage with this sister, because all that it was her uh, conveying her pain, and then never
mm,
wanting to listen to any advice. And
yeah,
so whenever
mm,
she would come round, she'd impose herself upon me, and oh, can I come in? Can I come in? She'd bring food and clothes and other peace offerings, and
right.
yeah,
Mhm,
I wanted to say no, and I did say no on occasions, and she didn't come round for a year, but then she'd come back round again. And
mm,
I'm like, am I going to continue to be hard as nails, or am I going to evolve, and am I going to invite her in? So I invite her in, and then I sit in my chair here, she sits on the couch, and she starts going, and she's got a beer in her hand, and she has to drink every night, and she has to smoke, and that's the only thing that's kept her alive, apparently, all of her life. And
mm,
well, what does she talk about? She talks about the only things that she knows. It's about these bitches at work, and it's about her neighbour, and then it's about the doctor, and it's about
mm,
her ailments, and this, that, and the other. And I sit there, and sometimes I say, "What would you like me to say about any of those things?" And she'd say, "What
mhm,
do you mean?" I'm like, well, you just sat there for 20 minutes and you told me about these bitches at work and your, ailments, this, that, and the other.
mhm,
What would you like me to say about those things? And she goes, oh, I'm just telling you. I'm like, well,
mm.
thank you. And I just look at her like this. You know, I would
Mm,
like to say to her, I was watching something. I was watching a beautiful nature program, and I was super calm, and it's great, and it's educational. And the time I've spent with you has been a pain in the ass, because I haven't done a single thing, and now you've spoiled my world. You start making me agitated because you're injecting your poison onto me. What do you want me to do about your poisoned life? Right. And then it starts, oh, well, all these books you've read, and I suppose you think you're better than me, or this, that, and the other. And it goes off on
mm,
that again. And then she ends
right,
up
mm,
slamming the door. And this happens almost every single time. And so, what I'm
right.
saying is, in relation to when we become awakened, well, how
It's
do we deal with these people?
Well, those people it's a vibrational difference. It just they can't do it, and we don't need to do it or take that in. Like you said, I don't want to I remember, yes. So I feel like it's a vibrational difference and that they've got to rise up and lift the vibration. S- People aren't going to get it. They're not going to
Well, they
get it
don't.
and they're going to be irritated by us
Yes,
people.
they are. And so what happens is they come
Mhm.
round because they don't know what they're doing. But what they're doing is they are filled with angst and anger
They
and
can be. Yes.
disappointment and regret, and all these negative feelings. And so
Right. That
it's kind of like, oh, I'll go and see my brother. And she comes round, and she knows I live a very, very peaceful life. And she comes into my wonderful,
it's
like
darling.
Buddhist retreat, and it's so wonderful. And all she does is she brings a big sack of shit, her shit that she's been carrying around all of her life,
Mm,
and she
mm,
plonks it down on the floor without even asking if I want it. And then she fucks off and leaves it there. And then,
mm.
I should say to her, oh, by the way, you've forgotten something. Oh, what's that then? This bag of shit you've just fucking dropped on me,
Well,
right?
she's gotta get rid of it somehow, and
Yes.
maybe that's why you're in her life, and that's really what we're talking about is, like, the idea of raising the vibration of who we are and moving forward, and no matter how we operate, it's just like the judgment thing has been really nice, and I've tried that for years and maybe getting better and better over the time. And because it's you can snap judge when somebody's driving like a really they just got their license really. But so it's a practice, as with anything, or stopping a conversation that we're, oh, speculating. Speculating is
So
just
look, here's the thing. Well, the reason why I wanted to broach this, if you could give me any scenarios whereby, your mother comes around, or you go around see your mother, or your sister or brother, or uncle and auntie, or chip in fucking China. What actually is the scenario? Because the scenario for me is like what I've explained. And when I
mm,
sit here and I go, look, I know I am an evolved being, and she wouldn't even know what an evolved being was if she sat before him, and she doesn't. You see, she doesn't say, "Excuse me, I'm probably ruining your night and imposing and piling all my shit on you, and it probably
mm,
doesn't feel very good." Yes, yes, yes. But okay, you're
okay.
and if you need to do it, then respect what's going on here. You can
Mm,
leave some of your shit with me because okay, I won't carry it. And as soon as you're gone, I'll open the window
toss it.
and throw it the fuck onto the lawn, right? But if you see, this is
Mm,
what they do. This is what all my family have always done. My brother's a prime example. They come into your home, blah 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 blah, and then they,
That's what you've been for. You're
yeah.
doing your job great. You're doing your
Look, I have a book open on the table when there was a knock on
Mhm.
the door and I say, "Come in." And then, so then my brother comes in. He doesn't have the decency to take his shoes off, even though he knows that that's the thing in my house. And he won't sit down. He'll just stand and talk down to me. And he'll never say, "Oh, sorry, was I interrupting something? What's that
Mm,
book about? What are you doing with your life?" No, he'll pile 10 tons of his shit
mm.
onto me, and then they go, "Oh, anyway, I fucking got to go and do this and got to go do that." And then I'm supposed to be happy to see him. And if I said, "Oh, by the way, please make your feet scarce at my door from this point forward," he thinks that I'm the cunt. He thinks that I'm the terrible person when
Yeah.
he's the one that's the terrible person but doesn't know it.
Well, you've just become the bad guy. You just became the bad guy, and it was so easy to do, and I stopped saying whatever was going on, that I knew in the end of the scenario that I could come out as the bad person, even though I was like, I knew I wasn't. I wasn't, and anyway, but I feel like our family is our greatest teachers. They can be some of our greatest teachers, right? We're here to learn. Do you
So,
think
so do you have any family? And if so, do any of them come
I
round to see
do.
you? Okay, and do you go round to see them? And what's the scenario? Tell me a scenario. Tell me what your thoughts are. Tell me if they're unloading their shit like everybody else seems to be doing. That's what I'm asking.
Well, I don't know. I don't, yeah, I don't know if I wanna speak of it right now, because things are, um, yeah, they're not where I would like them to be, but they are what they are
Can
as
you
far as
say that you have an affinity with what I've just said? Is that some?
yes,
Yes.
yes, for
That
sure.
look.
Yeah.
The thing is when we become awakened, um,
Mm.
we change. Everything about us changes. Our perception
Yes.
changes. Our aura
Mhm.
changes.
Mm.
Everything about us changes, and
Yes.
we're simply not the person that we were. And
And yeah,
people
maybe
resent.
we've never. It feels like it was a lifetime of being like that, learning about that. Being that person and having better just greater awareness in my overall being, and it was a lifetime of knowing, but yet it was very gradual, just knowing that the beauty of the world was my favorite thing, that the sky and the earth, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was my favorite thing to do, and
Yeah.
go be a part of that. So camping with my family was most delightful. My father was my brother is kind, my father was there, he was, present, and my mom as well, very simple beauty, I mean, and it was very good time. It was just the best time in our family when we'd go camping.
Mhm.
We weren't it didn't feel like part of the big world, and always with my family going pretty places like that, it seemed to be it was the best time to remember,
Yeah.
really. Besides, events have been fun, you know, graduations and such, but out in nature, everybody was just it was the best. It was so easy.
Out of routine and just,
Mhm.
spontaneous, in the world, and that's a
Yeah.
beautiful way to be. It's like, when people go on holiday,
Yeah.
they hopefully leave themselves behind, and, they do tend to be a little bit of a different person when they're somewhere. So
Mhm.
picture this one then, because this segues nicely, into, what I'm gonna be speaking about in,
Okay.
videos, in the not too distant future. I'm always speaking about the vast difference of consciousness and the awakened being as opposed to the muggle and the muppet and X, Y, and Z,
Mhm.
and how we all live in our own worlds. There is no one world here. That's just fantasy, it's illusion, it's deception, because we all have individuated states of consciousness. We do not
Mhm.
share them with anybody else. And so, therefore, our world is in our consciousness,
Mhm.
and other people's worlds are in their consciousness. Now, we can sit in
Mhm.
the same room and we can concur that, oh, there's a desk here and there's a computer here and this, that, and the other. But if no information was given to like 5 people prior to me inviting them into my home for the first time, and they came in and then they sat down for 10 minutes, and I just played them a song, for instance, something like that, and then they left, and then I sent them a questionnaire and I said, could you describe the room that you just entered and what happened when you saw Aaron? Well, you'd get a very, very vague simile, but there'd be massive differences. And if you ask them to consciously try to remember what actually was in the room, then it's
Mhm.
kind of like, there's a mirror here, and over on that wall maybe was this and this and the other. And in actual fact, some people wouldn't even recognize or see anything. They are absolutely in their world. And
Mhm.
so I've had people like my sister, for instance, when she's blah 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 blah, and I'd say to her, I said, "Look, I think one of the major issues is that you're in your head and you're not out really in what you would consider the world." Yes, I am. I'm out every day. I've got a job, not like you, and this, that, and the other. And I'd say, "Yeah, but you never leave here, do you? You never ever leave the ruminations of this." And so I said, "I want you to close your eyes." And she went, she closed her eyes, and I said,
Yes.
"Can you describe this room?"
Mhm.
And then she just sat there, and she sat there, and she sat there
Mhm.
until in the end, she went, just there's stuff around, and then she just opened her eyes. That was it, because she wasn't interested in any of the stuff. She wasn't looking at my life. This is a representation of my life, my soul, my spirit.
Mhm.
She wasn't interested in sharing that with me. The only thing she was interested in was getting rid of her poison. And so this is what's going on in the world. This is why the world is in such a bad
Mhm.
state.
Mhm.
And the other thing is, because we
No, it's good. I think it's good. I think it's good that they're getting rid of their poison and it's evident that they're doing it, that we all needed to do that.
yeah,
And
but
maybe it's been a lifetime of learning. For me, it's been a lifetime.
yeah, but
Go ahead.
it's not really good that they're getting rid of their poison when they get rid of it onto somebody else.
Correct. There we go. And then that's where counseling, if go pay somebody that probably needs as much help or more help, maybe.
Yes, but look,
Mhm.
it w we could all, be armchair psychologists and state how the world
Mhm.
needs to be, but what I'm saying is how the world is. And by saying that everyone should need to go and get a psychologist, well, that's never gonna happen.
Right.
And the changes that need to happen in the vast majority of people are never going to happen. So therefore, a level of acceptance has to come into play. We have to accept the fucking shitfest. That's how it is. That's how it's always been, and that's how it's always going to be. And
Mm.
probably it's getting worse
I
and worse
just
and worse. So so okay, now you tell me something fluffy what the aliens told you.
I disagree with that. I think that experience is if that's what you want, it will be
No, no,
all you've got.
okay. You tell me then why? What grounds
Uh,
do you disagree? Because
just the Mhm.
I'm going to suggest that you're going to project what you want the world to be, because
Mhm.
you listen to these channelers and they're telling you about how beautiful the future's going to be, and it makes you feel fluffy. But tell me why you think the world's going to be
Mhm.
fluffy, because I don't see it like that. Because I look at the so-called real
Mhm.
world and I can't see anything fluffy coming, Mandy. You know, unless the aliens are going to come and save us all.
I don't know. Maybe in our lifetime, that would be nice. I really do believe it's up to each individual, and I feel like, um, just creating a life that is being that person, I guess being the person that we are my best self. Just to be my best self and loving and kind to myself first, and then I can be loving and kind to others. And I feel like the whatever the world is to come, we may go through some really interesting times. I mean, with the solar energies that are happening and coming at us, there was a beautiful did you see that figure eight that came out of the sun?
No.
Yeah, I'll have to, oh my gosh, it was stunning, and it was perfect. And it was just a photo that is put out there. And there's so many energies and Mother Earth, the shifts, the tectonic plates and such. So it's a matter of going for me to go with this flow of the change that is, and, n I think it could be very, challenging coming upon us, and, have your rice and beans and water might be good, but that's always a thing, and the more that people rely on themselves instead of the outward sources, if that is a true thing about them, they haven't worked for the people. I don't feel like they've unified as people together. So there could be great change, and I see, in the end, I just like you, I think it's a definitive win for the light, the goodness, and not believing in that evil over, that darkness. Out of the darkness comes the light. And maybe everybody's gonna have their own that's where that division of the world and, you know, came upon us.
So that's your optimism. Um,
I feel like it that but that's also the feeling that I get. It's a feeling in
what's
my
the feeling?
body, in my core.
An
Mhm.
intuition?
Yeah, in my core self, in the center of my being.
Right. Do
Mhm.
you think that this has been influenced by the variety of videos that you watch, which is
No, because I didn't do that until lately. I lived that before, my own guidance system. Yeah, and the wonderful I've had great experiences too. And then I've had many great, um, and they've all been a lesson. They've all been a great lesson, and I'm thankful for all those lessons, and my evolution that other people, I don't feel like they could have necessarily handled it. Like,
right.
maybe I wasn't yeah.
I mean,
We
uh,
all have a different experience. Go
yeah, but
ahead.
that isn't saying anything about the world that is supposedly out there, and the AI take over, and
Well,
the lack
mhm,
of work for people, and people having too much time on their hands. Maybe what are they gonna do now? They no longer feel like they've got a purpose or they're important, and because you spoke about it from your perspective, and okay, that's great. Speak about it from your
mhm,
perspective. You're just going to continue to feel love every single day until you fall in your box. And okay, well, you will have had the best possible human experience then, um,
right.
like that. Um, but it's entirely a subjective experience. I mean, so for me,
Mhm,
I think lots of people that They don't want to be realists. They don't want to think that we'll probably end up in being third world countries because the financial crash is inevitable, and all different
Mhm.
sorts of food shortages and this and the other. And all we need, it's one coronal mass ejection which fries the electronic system in
Right,
different countries.
right.
Then all of a sudden we're in the dark ages, and
Well,
within
and
2 weeks,
mhm,
of no deliveries for food and this, that, and the other. Well, everyone's
mhm.
out, with their pickaxes and axes and robbing each other, and the world. You're not going to find too much loving going on, I don't think, when people are starving. So you watch these programs, and they tell you about this huge coronal mass ejection, and they tell you, well, that probably could come. Yes, well, of course, look, the sun's been doing that for as long as the earth's been here, and we've managed to survive without one of these things affecting us. And so if people are going to be talking about it, then it's kind of a bit like fear porn, isn't it? If it happens, it fucking happens. And
It does, right,
it doesn't matter how much prepping we do for one of these things, we won't recognize the world when that
right.
happens. And so
Mhm.
I can't see the point in anyone talking about that. And then if they're talking
Okay.
about the aliens maybe going to be protecting the people, and don't worry because you're all going to be fine, you know. Well, and then there's a subscription, and there's a bank account that you can send some money to, and I just lose. All credibility's gone. As soon as there's a bank account involved.
Mm. Well, I get it. I hear what you're saying. I was amazed at what people were charging for their, spiritual services, for sure.
Yeah, and so
I feel like yeah, go ahead.
what can we do then? We look at the world and we go, there's so much to learn, and we can't know it all, and even what we think we know, then is that knowledge? Probably not, because most of it's transitory in any case, and it's subjective to massive change. And so we're just at the mercy of this world and this cosmos. We've been at the mercy of it since the day we were born, and lots of us, miraculously, we live to be, pretty, long in the tooth. And so I don't think we need to worry about any solar flares or any AI takeover or any food shortages. We'll just
I
cross
agree.
those bridges when we come to it, yeah?
Yes,
In the
yes.
interim, we'll enjoy the sun on our faces, and,
Mhm.
our animals, and, walking out barefoot in our gardens.
Yeah, and I do feel that for me, I do watch I don't watch the weather, space weather, very often, but it's interesting to see that, things are kinda ramping up during the season and astrology-wise, and, I kinda like when, something does happen on the sun, Mother Earth is having movement, we're all feeling it. It's
Mhm.
one of those things maybe that not everybody can feel it as much as others, you
Yeah.
know?
I've heard those
Yeah.
things, though, for the past 15 years,
Yeah, and they're always happening, they're
that time, and
always happening.
the planets are aligning, and this energy, and the Pleiades
Right,
are saying this, and all this stuff. It just you know it's entertainment, isn't it? Some people watch CNN, some people watch the BBC, some people watch Candace Owens, some people watch Russell Brand, or Alex Jones, and we're all doing our thing. And what does
right.
it amount to? What does it mean, really? I don't think it means anything. I don't think it amounts to anything. I don't think there's anything
Mhm.
special at the end. And the whole concept of heaven, where we're gonna, sit at the right hand side of Jesus, just fantasy. Everything's fantasy. Ultimately, what I think is going on is that the cosmos appears to be conscious, and so it's like one big dreamscape.
Mhm.
And it's like
Wow.
when we dream at night, we can have lots of people in our dreams. It seems that we
Mhm.
could have infinite people in our dreams. We could actually be at a football stadium and thousands of people be in our dreams. And so that just seems like what's going on in the so-called waking life.
Yes,
Or what,
yes.
do you feel that, or?
Yes, I agree that we're bringing in the same, what we're here to do. We're like connecting with you. For some reason, you're helping me, and I'm helping you, and there's an exchange, a collaboration. I see people collaborating more, and I feel like that's a good thing. I mean, they're, you know, yeah, it's good to lift each other up and share what we do know or share, things I don't know. I didn't assess myself my growing up. I didn't assess every aspect. I was just living and I was doing my life.
Mm.
And now I have a greater understanding of maybe things I could have, I always say cool my jets because I was hyper vigilant and I
Right.
didn't understand. I thought it was just a quality of being I'm going. I'm a goer. I'm the triple air signs, if that has anything to do with it too, having a lot of air in my chart that seems to be people have chuckled. Astrology folks have gone, wow, I've not seen so much air. And that's why I kind of maybe blow around about things in my
Yeah.
finishing a thought.
Yeah, well, I often speak about myself being Libra, which is the scales, and
Mhm.
always balancing everything, and looking at the pros and the cons, and
Yeah.
in my right hand I have the sword of justice, and in the left hand it's the scales of justice, and so
Mhm.
and the thing is about the Libra, it's female.
Mhm.
It's the only female, isn't it? Is it the only female
No.
in the astrology sign? What
No.
other females are there? Is Virgo is that feminine?
I think so. I'm Pisces.
Well,
It's
they're fish, aren't
Pisces.
they? So
Yeah. Yeah.
when I
They're
say
full
feminine, female, actual human.
energy, yeah, like a
Well,
Taurus is female energy, which is interesting,
that
and
is a bull.
yeah.
It's what I'm saying. It's the human. So you've got Gemini. You got twins.
Mhm.
Uh, but the twins are they mermaids or what?
They're intertwined, they're probably both sides of that spectrum,
Yeah.
you know?
So when we look at that, I think, well, there's something to be said for that. I'm
Mhm.
pretty characteristic of, that sign,
Mm.
and so yeah, there's something.
There's something there.
Something in it, and that's the
Yeah.
thing. That's the thing with the
Mhm.
whole life. There's something to everything, but it's also
Yeah,
indefinable. It's
right.
also obscure, and why is it like that? And this is exactly the same in the quantum world, because quantum physicists, they wring their hair
Mm.
because the quantum world keeps shape shifting.
Yeah.
It doesn't give any clear answers all the time. It's kind of like
Mhm.
now you see me, now you don't, and it is and it isn't at the same time, and all these different
Mhm.
sorts of stuff. And it's kind of like, wow, we really are in a proper full blown paradox where
Yes. Mhm.
truth is a misnomer.
Well, it's subjective or objective, subjective.
Subjective, yeah.
Mhm. Yes, and I feel like that's where bringing in that experience of good or evil or however we want to experience things, it's much nicer to be on the light side. And I feel that light. I always knew that I had this light in me that wanted to live from there and be that and be better. I just knew I could always be better, even if I was having fun or being a stinker when I was a kid, young person. I mean, it was fun. And then to be grounded in and learn about those things, I think that should be something that we teach our children that to trust their gut, to know who they are as little people.
Mm. Yeah, well, most certainly there's more things we can teach our children
Yeah.
about their own psychology and their own
Yeah.
emotions and all the rest of it.
And the
Um,
beautiful rocks and the sunshine, and we talk about those kids, they do watch, solar system stuff, and we watch about the planets, but then yeah, it's like there's a balance of having this And it's nice to come for me in my life at this point, it's nice to come back down to earth and be more solid in my body and take care of it, again, you know, in a like, even work my muscles more and, finish that, charcoal cleanse and do these things that, "Oh gosh, that feels so good when I'm done." And sometimes I don't feel my heart because 'cause I'm not even thinking about it, and I just feel the energy in my body when I do. Oh, every the circulation's going and it you know, and I see a lot of people thinking, "Oh, I'm old and I'm gonna wear my geriatric shoes." I mean, yes, don't do it.
Yeah, no, don't give up, and that's my policy. But when I
Yeah.
look around people and, I speak with people
Mm,
and, I ask them, sort of sometimes direct, sometimes not so direct questions to see what level of awareness they have. And so there's one old guy, and he just he was taken away by the paramedics about a
mm,
week ago. I don't think he's come back. I
uh,
don't know whether he's dead or we're still in hospital or something. But about I don't know at least 10 times a day, he's standing outside his apartment smoking a roll up,
and
and he's
mm,
all thin and weedy and old and everything, and he's probably only about 76 and not that old really. People at 76 can look much better. And I say, so how long do you think you got left then, puffing away on them weeds all the time?
mm.
And he goes, well, I don't know, don't think about it. And I said, well, have you ever thought about where you go after? Do you think you go anywhere after? Don't know, don't think about it. And so I think, well, that's probably the answer for most people, not to think about anything. Because if
Mm,
they don't think about anything and they can manage to get through their lives,
mm.
then, the chances are they'll fear nothing, and, they'll never be confused about anything. They just follow the orders or the protocol of any given society. And so what do you think about that?
Well, I've never followed orders very well. I don't feel like that was I felt resistant to being told what to do. Maybe that's why I had a hair salon and I got to create, and enjoy people that way in a different aspect and touch people and
Mm,
be in touch with them.
mm,
Not a lot of people in your business do you get to touch people. So
yeah,
that was really important, letting my hands be creative.
mm,
And I always, even as a kid, I loved different textures of hair, like an
right.
afro or something. And I, yeah, I definitely got to touch people all my life. Not everybody I don't want to touch, but anyway,
Right.
it was a
So,
fun job and it was a fun journey. So,
yeah,
yeah.
whenever I wanted to touch someone, I went and paid for it. So that's my way. I didn't get them
Well,
paying
then
me.
that works, there you go. It could happen for you, I mean, really.
Yeah, yeah. I want a portion of touching. You pay the price and you get a portion of touching. Um, so we're almost up to 2 hours now, so, we'll
Mm.
wrap this one up. Is there any, final thoughts that you wanna finish off on with 5 or 10 minutes or something like that? What's Mandy's wisdom that she wants to give to the world? Now, you did say that,
Mm.
wanna do your own channel and,
Mm.
got something to say, and so what's that gonna be about then?
I think basically just breathing and being present in the moment, maybe getting outside and I love it, just holding still, maybe not saying too much and just listening and even having a day, giving ourselves a day just to observe silence, and
Right,
go within, maybe. And you could
okay.
be even wear a button, say, observing silence, and yeah,
Well,
so
so you'll have to let us know then when you got your channel, and next time you
okay.
come on, then we can promote it, and maybe we can run one of your videos.
Oh, good, and doing some stretching and yoga while we're out in nature. I think maybe that would be great.
A bit of
And
forest bathing.
right, right. I know I've done that. Of
Yeah,
course, baby.
yeah,
Yeah.
and all those sort of things. Well, you're in sunny California, so, you got all that stuff going for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good. I thank you for having me on and chatting. It's a lot it's very cathartic. Is that the good word to use there? It feels mm,
Yeah, I mean, it's good to talk, and
yeah,
it's useful to challenge each other,
yeah.
to see why we have certain beliefs or
Yeah.
why we do certain things. Um,
Mhm.
because if we don't, then we'll just continue like automaton. It's only until we really start to think about what we do and why we're doing it. It's kind of like people staying with one partner, for
Mhm.
years, because they've never really thought about any options. It's just
Yeah,
kind of like you know drifting along.
right.
Um, so yeah, when you watch the video back, then yeah, you'll relive again the interrogative.
Right. No, I've got that. I've got it. I can't hold on to that too much because I realize that's how you and you're being very earnest. I realize that, but I'm not I don't I guess I haven't had that level of focus on the certain questions that you have, maybe.
Yeah, that's right. Because we're all in our own worlds, and my world's been a very deep, studious world, and a very pensive world, and it's kind of
Mhm.
like I I like to try to extract information from other people, but I
Mhm.
quickly realised that not many people's minds work in a similar way because they've not been
Mhm.
structured. They've not really thought about things, and this is why I say
Right.
whenever you see anybody on stage, they're on stage because they've written at least one book and they're talking about stuff which they know absolutely through and through. People like Jordan Peterson, Sam Harris,
Mhm.
who will talk in so much depth because they've thought about it, thought about it, and thought about it.
Right, right.
And I'd love to be able to speak with those sort of people who have my sort of mind, who
Get
can
that?
follow a
Yes.
rational lineage, and we can
Yeah.
get like a philosopher who gets down to the nitty gritty of something. Um, but very few
I
people.
I could see you talking with Jordan Peterson. I don't know the other person, but how is Jordan Peterson doing?
Well, he's not doing too well apparently, and he's not
Yeah.
back on the scene.
Yes.
And
Speak with
so
his daughter. She's lovely. She's very bright and brilliant.
yeah, yeah,
And then
she
you have that female aspect going again and again.
yeah. Um, well,
Mhm, mhm,
it was interesting, speaking a bit more depth, with you, and I wonder how people will feel about how this conversation went, and what they took from it. Did they take anything from it? Was there anything to
mhm,
be
mhm.
took from it? So everyone's got their perspective, and so more women, to I'd love people with a structure to come on and speak how they feel and how they work through life, and what happens
Right,
if this happens and that happens and these sort
right.
of things. But that I don't think there's too many people really that are like that. It's
Well,
kind of
invite them, invite them. I've come on and I mean, yeah, just say open mic on this day and then see what you get,
Yeah, well,
you
I've been
know?
doing that forever, and there's not too many people these days, who are up for it, and
I feel like we're gonna keep with the energies changing, and if anybody does have that spark of wanting to, reflect or, um, having a more expansive view of things and the magic and how things work, synchronicities, and they're real. They're very real. They're very, apparent. I mean,
yeah,
my dear friend and neighbor, he passed, and, his favorite day of the year. And so I would remember it probably too, is, the solstice, right? So that at
Which
the equinox, sorry.
oh,
Is
well,
that the half day
there's 2
equal
weeks though, isn't there? There's 2 weeks.
right, it was in May. Was it May?
It was 23rd of March about is,
March,
y
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that was the day that he actually just left. It was his favorite day every year, the equal time, and it
Right.
was so interesting that he exited that day, I mean, it was amazing. So I feel like there is so much we can glean from one another, and however our perspectives are, right? We are going to project out. Golly gosh, I don't wanna go around, judging others, or myself, and just being my best self and having that kind of knowing that I'm gonna have a good experience when I do go out. I feel like I really do have some great experiences with people.
Yeah, well, if you, sort of like, create your own reality in your mind and project it onto
Right.
the world, well, you're at least halfway there, aren't you? Rather
It's
than going out, without any projections, because then you're open to other people's influences. But if you say, "No, I'm gonna have a good time, actually," and then, you
Mm,
you'll be drawn to having a good time, by certain
right.
vibrations, and
Mhm.
you'll be, automatically repulsed from negative energies and things like that. So okay, if there's anybody out there that got any stories, any
Yeah.
supernatural, any trauma stories, any living hell stories, any beautiful stories, if you want to share your stories, then come and share them. And we'll speak again then, Mandy. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Sounds
Perfect.
good.
See you
Take
later.
care.
Bye.
Alright, bye.